You are watching The Burning Power Show with Dr. Sunny Alonso Dotson, where you are therefore required to love yourself. You are welcome here, you are wanted here, and you are needed here. And to the very last ember that's been diluted in the airs of possibility, trust yourself, need yourself.
Oh yes!
Oh yeah!
We're here!
We are here!
Oh my god!
I'm so excited!
Woo! Welcome on in! I got a tune playing for you. Oh. John, I am so excited for you guys. You know what? Let me turn this down in a few minutes so you can hear. All right, welcome to the Burning Power Show, where you are required to love yourself. And I am Dr. Sunny Alonso Dotson. And we are super excited to come to you today because this is the show you've been waiting for. And I have my dear friend, Mr. John Wang, here with me. We are pumped! Woo! Oh, yes!
All right, I'm John. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm so excited. We just ran into each other a few days ago. Now we're good friends. I love him. It's really nice to be here to be in this show. And I'm a little nervous, but let's get started.
That's all right. Because this is where, right here, this show is where you're welcome. And this is the show where you're unafraid to live unabashedly about your truths. And that's why I have my dear friend John Wang here with me today. Because does he have a story that is the truth? And this show is all about finding your truth. And it is all about the willpower to be about the business of being true to the authenticity that you have inside yourself. And so therefore that is thus getting us to the opportunity to talk about today's topic, which is going to be the topic of the heart's journey to finding authenticity. That's right. Today's show is going to be about the heart's journey to finding authenticity, which is ultimately the truth of your existence. And so, my dear friend John Wang here, why don't we start off about you talking about your introducing who you are and what you do. I know you did just give a short introduction about who you are and how we met, but tell the people who you are.
Okay. So, as I just told, I'm John Wang. I'm originally from China. I'm studying here in St. Louis. So, something special about me, I've been in college for many years, and I just took a whole year off traveling around last year, and that's how we started having this idea of, doing this show today, because, I've traveled to over 20 cities in different countries last year, spent some time off, enjoyed myself, and, meeting amazing people. Now I'm back on track, back to school, getting my degrees, and also work remotely. Well, not always, as a graphic designer, which is very happy and joyful work I'm doing. And yeah, that's basically me.
All right, John. Well, you know what? John is an amazing person. And John is filled with truth. And he is filled with truth because he is unafraid to live in the truth. That is not just the past, but it is also the therefore present. And we are all about living in the now. And I definitely am honored to have John on my show, to be a participant in the will to keep on living. In the days when we feel like we're lost. In the days that we feel like we can't keep going forward. And that's what this show is all about. Getting past the face of depravity. And getting past the opportunities of Satan to try to dim our light and take our truth from us. We are in the business this hour of repropositioning those truths. And giving truth to the face of the sovereignty of God alone. And so let's get into the questioning, John, because we do want to talk about, I find it very fascinating about John's journey, because we have the whole experience of not knowing who you are as a person. That's number one. And then number two, the whole experience of trying to find out your truths. That's number two. And then number three, the whole journey of going about the business of discovering yourself as a person, and then giving yourself an account of your truths that are free from judgment and free from opinion, first from yourself and then of others. And so, John, I want to get into the questions here about your experience of being hurt and being in spiritual pain, and the whole experience of not knowing your truths and not knowing who you are as a person, as it relates to your person as a whole, speaking to your identity and speaking to your truths. And my first question to you is what is your experience of self-identity? And how do you identify as a person as a whole of self?
Okay, well, interesting enough, this is something I've been thinking lately. I've been exploring lately. So before this whole journey, before everything, I didn't know what a self-identity really was. I didn't know who I was, because all I knew about myself was someone else defined, labeled me as for example, what I do as a student, as a kid, as a gay, as someone from somewhere, I define myself through other people's judgment and comments. They think I'm good, and I think, okay, this is me, that is me. I've been trying to exploring to find where to fit in this world, but now I feel like self-identity is not something you find to fit in the world outside, but something you believe inside of you, the faith you have to yourself. So now I feel like the self-identity that I have, I know that I'm a person who is seeking to a dream that I have been dreaming about for a long time. There were time off, but I'm still working on it. I know that I have good personality that people like, and I also have some bad part that people don't like, and they both are part of me. They both are part of my identity, and nothing should make me arrogant or ashamed. It's just me, and I feel like now, as of right now, I'm very comfortable being who I am, very comfortable with this identity that I have found, and still trying to be more clear of what exactly it is. But the point is the whole experience is very interesting, that it switched from finding a spot outside of yourself in the world to finding something that is already inside of you.
Yes. And that right there is a very, very prominent, pivotal experience that we face, that John just touched base on, about it already being something that we innately possess, and which is why this experience is so powerful, and the whole experience of understanding and then getting to that awareness. So that is definitely an awareness postulate that we need to take heed to, that it is not something that is external, as John just shared with you. It is something that is in it, that we already innately possess. And so let us get to the next question. And that question I do have for you, John, is what was the driving force behind your decision to seek change? So what was the driving force behind your decision, where you felt like you needed to seek change, thus finding truth about yourself and your identity as a person? and how did you get there?
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, well, looking back, before this whole change that I made, there were a lot of reasons. Like, I knew, like, as I feel like a lot of people too, like, they know they need to make a change when they have to, when they need to, they just don't know how to. Same to me, like from long ago, I knew I need to make some change, but before this whole thing started, I thought, I just needed to be a better person. I wanted to be a person everyone likes. So I worked so hard to, to get like validations, to be who I think everyone else would like. At the end of the day, I was not happy. I was anxious. I was depressed. I never met my high expectations. I was so unrealistic on a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I feel like no, it was a lot of fear that I had. I mean, it's not just, of course, like the good things that I will receive after this change is something motivating, but the biggest driving power was actually the fear. Like, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you are doing, you don't know like where in the world you are at, like you don't know nothing about yourself. And that I tried, because as I said, I traveled to a lot of places, and I took a whole year off. Part of the reason is that I needed to take a break. And also, I was literally trying to walk away from my responsibilities because I did not know how to handle it. I was so anxious that my life couldn't continue. Then I realized that there was something wrong, not just about my life, not just about something that I did wrong, but there's something that's gotta change inside of me. This fear of not being able to proceeding to the next stage of my life, to where I'm going to, and this fear about myself, that is a huge, huge power that made me decide to change, but in a different way than I thought how I would.
Okay, and then and that's powerful right there. Just with getting to the deep digging, which is what I talked to you guys about in the show, about getting into the valleys low with yourself, so that you can decipher what it is exactly that needs attending to, which is very powerful about the experience that John's talking about getting into those valleys, not just experiencing those valleys, but actually getting down into the valley with yourself, and then thus deciphering what it is that actually needs the attending to from your spirit. That's very powerful, John. And then we're going to get to question number 3 here. And we just want to get down to, how has the journey itself to finding your truth shifted your life experience? So how has the journey itself to finding the truths about yourself shifted the life experience? How has it shifted the route that you've taken? And how has it shifted the awarenesses that you needed to find? And how is it the experience of the shifting affecting your life right now?
Okay.
In this moment.
Yes. So I would say overall it was powerful. It was positive. So for the first 20 years or 23 years of my life, I've just been doing whatever I thought I was supposed to do. Like, no one forced me, but that's just what everyone else do. Like, they go to school, they finish high school, they go to college, and then they go to work. And that's just a time frame everyone followed, and I did too. But in the middle of my college career, and also as I started exploring around, I feel like I don't know who I was, and I didn't know like what I wanted to do. I had a lot of thoughts that I didn't even know if that they were feasible or not. And but like this whole like shifting, it changed my point of view as a person living, in this world. Like I'm not looking for something that I need to. I'm not looking for things out there to accomplish, like to complete as tasks as everyone else do. I realize that I need to build my own route to something. I always thought that was different to. I mean, everyone's different, but I feel like just in general, I have like bigger difference in how to organize my life, how to how to do things differently. I believe that we don't have to work upon the same like time frame. Like someone could take a fast track and other one can take it slower. So just the whole shifting of this finding self identity, finding the truth, made me realize that I do have my own passion that a lot of other people don't have, or I have passion on this certain thing that other people are not passionate about. And that's something special about me, and that's something valuable in my life that I shouldn't sacrifice to get better in other things. It's just, you have a lot of weaknesses and strengths in life, but like one basic thing that I learned is that the basic rule is that you don't want to sacrifice your strength already out there or already inside of you to fix the weakness that you don't even know if that will affect, like how much it will affect you. So for a lot of time, I've been focusing so much on my weakness, on my bad sides, on how to improve them, that I even forgot that I have a lot of strengths that I could have utilized better. So after this whole shifting process, also with the support of a lot of other people, I started finding to like be fair to myself, to recognize both the good side and bad side about me, to be more rational about what I can achieve in my world and in my life, and where I am standing in this world. Like right now, after this whole process, I mean, I'm still working on it, but I've already seen like a lot of differences that I made. I started look to positive sides of everything. I started to look at the positive side of myself, and every time when I'm planning on something or setting goals, I'm trying to value my strength, yet don't want to bother my life with the weaknesses. I don't want to be too optimistic about things, because I want to try to avoid the weaknesses or fix the weaknesses. It's very different. It's a whole different life that I'm living, that you want to just be who you are. You want to just do whatever you are doing, instead of trying so hard to be whoever you think other people that might like but you don't know of. So yeah, it's different. It's powerful, interesting, and it's very positive process that I have been through by just like shifting this angle. Yeah.
That is very, very good. Thank you so much for that, John. And that's very good to touch base on where we're talking in terms of the shifting from weakness. So you just heard that. That was a working area for us. Shifting from the weaknesses that we believe are our truths and then shifting our alignment to the strengths that we already innately possess, and then getting about the business of valuing ourselves again, and then getting about the business of detaching ourselves from the expectations, the pseudo representation of not only what we believe, if we are not aligning ourselves with our truth, but with the beliefs are of other people. So we're getting out of the dependency on the opinions and the judgments of other people, and that's why right now is so important, because there is a mandate on the requirement of the work that we must do, and there is a mandate on the requirement of the care that we must take for ourselves so that we can begin a work to get to those truths. Okay, and then now we're going to get to question 4. And then, so now we want to know, what is your experience of others and the world at large? So what is your experience of others and the world at large as it relates to you as a person?
Yeah, so, the world is like around, like it's right here, it's around us. So I've always been like, defining how it is working, as I said in the past, like I cared so much about how people think of me. I care about their judgments. I care about their validations. And the reason I travel a lot was because I feel like, the world is out there. It's like strange. Like I have to know it. I have to go to every place to see what it's like, to experience it. I need to know everything. I need to know how people think of me and where I am in the world. After this whole travel and after this whole journey of finding the authenticity, finding my self identity, I realized that the world and the and others, they're not separated from me, yet they are not part of me. We are interacting, like we are interdepending. So they are important because that is where you live, but that doesn't mean that what everything outside is so important that has to change you. You have to be part of the world, be part of others, to be part of the change that the world is making, and the world is something that influences you but that make you stronger. It's something that word is some word that you seek for more knowledge, where you seek for something you wanna know about, but that doesn't mean that it has to change you. So as of now, I feel like the relationship between me and others and the world is like I am taking advantage of the world of others by receiving what they think about me, and by receiving the supports, by receiving the resources that I get from others from the world. But at the same time, I need to contribute to other people's life, other people's like everything in the world. It's not like to live like selflessly. It's like you give back what you get, and you get because you have given. It's you need to know that both you and the things outside of you are so valuable, and you need to make sure that you know who you are to be able to find a spot in this world among other people. Like without knowing who you are, this whole thing is they don't make sense. Like if you try to, because like before this whole thing, I feel like I literally was trying to find where I am among these people, where I am in this world, but I never found it because I didn't know who I am. Like, how do you locate something without knowing what it is? So, yeah, I would say it is very important to have this like codependence and this interaction between you and outside world. Like both you are playing roles in this interaction. You are not just like receiving things from them, or you're not just giving everything you have to the world. You value both. You value yourself and you value the world, and that's how it started working.
All right. And then with that, we also want to know, are you, with the whole experience of finding those truths and finding the awarenesses of the innate passion and the knowing yourself and the valuing yourself, and then the codependency of working together with people, and then getting the whole experience of others and the world at large, and then the pursuit of self-identity, and seeking change and finding new resources and new tools to apply to what's happening now, and that whole experience. The next question is going to be, are you still living in spiritual pain?
I would say, to be honest, I am. Like, there always something that's painful. That's no, you always have a soft tissue, like deep inside your heart. You want to hide from other people. You don't want to share about. I would say yes. There is the pain going on, and still, like, but I don't think that's something bad. I don't think that's something you can even avoid.
Yes.
But it matters that how you balance this pain, this spiritual pain, to like everything else you have in your life, and how you handle it. Do you see it as a resource, or do you see it as something embarrassing you, or do you see it as a value of your life? For a lot of people, the spiritual pain can come from a lot of different things. Like your loss of your family, or your loss your breakup of a relationship, your failing in life, or a lot of things that they all can like cause like this pain, like spiritual pain that you have. But that is not some reason that is not a reason that you indulge, that you become self-indulging, that you give up your life, that you feel ashamed of, because that is part of a story. And having the pain going on, I mean, if you don't feel the pain, that basically means you've already walked out of this life. You've already given up. Like you don't live in the truth, right? So but having this pain, you need to see it as part of your life. You need to have it to awaken you when you are falling. It is something that strengthen you. It is a value of your life that you have this very special pain that make you that drives you to go to somewhere. Okay, now we started.
All right, guys, welcome back. We did have some technical difficulties that happened right there where the camera did shut off. But if you're just coming in, I will be posting most of this. This is the Burning Power Show, where you're therefore required to love yourself. And I am Dr. Sunny Alonzo Dotson. And I do have special guests here, John Wang, and he is talking about the experience of finding your truth, and then therefore thus that being the heart's journey to finding authenticity. So let us pick up where we left off.
So yeah, we were talking about am I still experiencing the spiritual pain?
Okay.
And yes, I am, but I will say that is not something bad in my life. That is something actually I see valuable because that is part of me. That is something that I can't walk away from. I can, but I can have it being a value of my life instead of being a shame or being a reason why I should self-indulge. That is something that awakes me from the indulgement, the depression, the confusions that I had about my life, but like keep moving on to go to get what I want to get and to go to where I want to be. So I would say it is in a healthy level. I mean, there's always like greater pains, minor pains, and there are the pains that break your life down. There are the pains that make you feel like you are alive. I feel like right now this pain is what make me feel that I am alive, and I need to keep doing what I want, what I need to do. So I see it as still going on, but something powerful.
Okay. And those are true postulates for us to take. That we are in the process, as John said, of balancing the pain. So we have to see it as a process of weighing what's happening with ourselves. It's not a process of just experiencing it now, but we are actually in the process of balancing what's happening with ourselves. And so we're getting down into where we have to do that required work and balance what's happening with ourselves and decipher. And we do that through the deciphering of our truths and the walking out of those truths in the valleys. And then once we do that, we're in the process of the continuation of ourselves. And like John touched base on, that we are required to keep on going. And we're required to keep on loving ourselves and tending to the parts of us that needs the most work. And thus, friends, we're coming to that next question. And we want to know now, John, what are your deepest wounds? So what are your deepest wounds, and what are those wounds? Do you feel like they are the reasoning behind the spiritual pain? Do you feel like they are the reasoning to why you are still in pain? Mm-hmm. And do you feel like that they are the reason of why you are unable to, because some people are going to be asking, how do I get out of the pain completely?
Right.
And people out there are wanting to know, how do I stop hurting? Mm-hmm. And is there a certain point where there is going to be a disconnect? All right, guys, we're back. We're having some technical difficulties and stopped again. But this is the Burning Power Show, where you're required to love yourself. And I am Dr. Sunny Lonzo Dotson, and this is John Wang, my special guest today. And we were on the question of what are your deepest wounds, and as it relates to the spiritual pain, and the reasoning behind the spiritual pain. So can you tell us about that, John?
So I would say, there are a lot of events going on that I feel painful about, that I feel that I couldn't even let go of. But I would say, I don't think that's a one specific event in my life, but just in general, like people walking away from me or running away from me. That is the biggest pain from the externals that make me feel like I can't keep going on, because I valued how people think about me, how people judge me, how people compliment me, how people just generally how people think of me. I thought that was important, and I value relationship that I have with people. So I always have a very optimistic this expectation about some relationships that I have with people, friendship, or some love relationship, or family relationship. But as I start feeling, a lot of people, they are scared of me for many reasons. They walk away from me. I feel like I was abandoned. I feel like there was something wrong with me that people don't like about me. And it might not sound like a major thing, but it's been consistent, and I've been consistently pushing people away. So this made me feeling that I am alone. I am helpless. I am supportless. I made me even thought that I was nothing. So just this thing, people coming and leaving, no, just people leaving me for many reasons, and me feeling lonely is pain. Like, I couldn't even open up to anyone about this, because this wound is like, either you talk about it or not, it hurts. But you clearly know, if you are talking about it, that moment it hurts really bad. Though you probably got healed after that, but just that moment, like, you talk about that, it is something really, it's something big that for you to go through. So yeah, for a long time, I've just been confused about why people are leaving me, and some are like natural, or like something are because of things don't work out. But I've been so trapped in the history, in the past of my life, that I couldn't look on to what is going to happen next in my life, because I was hopeless. Like, without this person, without that person, without this relationship, I couldn't see anything in my life in the future. So yeah, that is a big wound in my life. Family member passed away, and a few of really amazing guys that I was like in affection, I would say, in affection with, some amazing some amazing friends who just walked away from my life because of something that I did wrong. All these things, they all hurt. They still hurt. Like, because it is like a real event in your life, and it is like, really, it was really happening, and you will still like remember the whole thing. It is it leaves a mark in your life and in your mind. So yeah, that was my biggest pain that I have been through for a long time.
And my dear friends, as you can see, as John's saying right now, that we are all experiencing aloneness, and we are all experiencing loneliness, and it is through the loss, not only external or from as it relates to the loss of other people, but a loss within. And so thus you have proof and validity here that we as a people, as I talked to you about on another show, we've come here broken. And we come here with a broken heart. And so therefore there is a healing process that must take place. And so as you can see from John's experience here, that we are not alone, and we don't have to feel alone. And we don't have to rely on the opinions and the judgments, not only of ourselves, but of other people, to get us through. But it is required that we do the work internally to get us to a place of healing that we do so deserve. And my dear friends, we are required to love ourselves again. Because out of the last ember that burned us in the fire, we shall be in the people that are arisen. And we shall be a people that believe in the burning power that resides within us. And there is fire that is burning in us this very minute. So if you're out there and you're feeling helpless and you're feeling like this is your last hour and you're feeling like that you can't take another breath and you're in the throes of suicide or you're in the throes of depression, you can hear John's story and you can get power from that. That there is truth that you can locate that is inside you, that is burning to get out. And so, my dear friends, we want to get to that next question. And so, after we've dealt with the wounds, have you found healing in your search for meaning? So now we're getting past the part of getting the truth. But out of that truth, we're the goal is to find meaning. And everybody out there, there's people that are wondering about their meaning and about their purpose in life, excuse me. And so, have you found that you found meaning in your search while you were on the search for truth?
Right. So, I would say yes. Of course, I mean, there is a healing, and for different people that might work differently. But one thing that I think is very important to know is that to learn to move on and to let go. It doesn't mean that you have to forget about things. For example, I was so depressed after, a relationship didn't work out, which I had like huge expectation on. I thought, that it wasn't like, it was the end of the world, but like I just felt I was like in the dark, like I was helpless. I was losing something really important to me, and after that I lost my purpose of life. I lost my interest of living like what the wonderful life that I had for a second. But it's not just about healing itself. Like there are tons of ways to heal it. There are like therapies. There are like all kinds of different things you can do. There are always a way to distract yourself from the pain, from the whatever you are going through. The point is, it is the past. It is what it is. Like you can't reverse what has happened. Like there are ways that you can make up over it. There might be something you can do to restart something, but that is in the future. But as of the moment, what you need to see is that this is happening, and you still have a life to live. So you need to find a way. First, you need to make sure that you know that you need to move on. You need to let go of this, even though there's something else, like with the same person or the same event is coming back in your life. But that's the future. That's a whole different story. But as of the moment, you need to realize that you have to let go of it. There are different ways to let go of things. You don't have to forget about it, because it is part of you. The biggest thing in my life the biggest like most powerful truth, and this kind of idea that I had throughout the journey of finding the truth, of like healing the wound, was that I need to accept. So we have been talking about how you need to accept the world, how you need to accept people, how you need to accept the difference of like different people, but we barely have talk about how you accept yourself, how you accept your life. Like, yes, it is hard to know, it's hard to admit that you failed this thing, or it's hard for you to admit that you are bad at this, you failed this relationship, or it's hard for you to like um really just admit like someone is really gone, in either way, if they're like living or alive, or if they pass away, like no, they all are like some major pains that people are experiencing. But the truth is that you need to accept that this is the fact, and you need to accept that you have done this, like you are this person, although like it might not be some kind of person that you like about, but like if you think you are bad, but yes, this is who you are, but that doesn't mean that you can do anything better. But you need to accept who you are, where you're at, what is happening, and the fact is where you start off to get your healing.
Yes.
Yeah, so like it took quite some time for me to accept truth that I was really not good at handling this. I was not at the right position of starting the whole thing, and I couldn't even accept that we just cut each other out at all, and also like it was hard for me to accept like some family member was gone, and some friends they walked away from my life. They all hard to admit, they are hard to believe that was truth, but at the end of the day, you've got to accept it. You've got to accept that it's the truth because it is what it is. And then I need to accept that I am painful. I wasn't okay. You need to accept that you do have this spot, soft spot. You do have this pain going on, and then you start finding ways to heal it. Like if you don't even accept that you are in this position needing a healing, if you pretending to be okay, then there's no way to heal it. So I would say, yeah, the healing started from admitting the truth and accepting myself. And then once you know that, you start, it might be hard for you to heal it all by yourself, but there's abundance of resources out there in the world. Your family, your friends, the therapist, all those professionals, and even like random people who are like wise enough to give you advices. There are tons of people and resources that you can take advantage of. You can try everything out, but the point is you need to start by accepting yourself.
Yes.
So to be able to seek the help from all those resources that's out there.
I love that. That was very good. And then to our next question, John, with that awareness that you have now from the healing and the search for meaning, are you happy with your life now? So are you at a place where you're happy?
I would say happy is a very subjective word.
Okay.
And it depends on how you define it. And I would say when you're asking me if I am happy now in my life, it sees the life as a whole as a continuing thing is not at a moment if I'm happy. And the happiness is not like I'm excited, I'm joyful, or if I were very glad something happened. But I would say yes, I am happy now. Like although like I would say for a lot of time in my daily life, I may not act as a happy person, or like I still get stressed, I still get like anxious about things, I do have fear, but overall I would say I am happy because I know that I am living, like I know I'm alive, I feel alive, and that is what I'm happy about. I am solving problems, I am back on track my life and solving a problem. Although this whole changing that I made doesn't make my life as is object any easier, but just as me, I see it differently. I know that no, there are always a way to solve all those problems that I have in my life. There are always ways to get back on track, as long as I have this belief, this faith in myself, and that is something make me feel secure, feel that fulfilled and feel peaceful, and that is the happiness means to me.
Okay. I really love that part about once you found the truth, the acceptance of the truth.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people need to hold on to, that truth postulate right there that you just gave to the people, about the acceptance of the truth. Because a lot of people are accepting a pseudo-based representation of their truth. But once you find a truth for yourself, that there was a real acceptance through the receptivity of that truth, and then understanding that there is now wholeness that is coming out of that. And that with the truth, not only can we heal, but we can gain awareness about the experiential existence of who we are. And so now we're getting down to the wire here, you guys. And then our next question is going to be, how was your experience traveling abroad? Because people want to know about that. How was your experience traveling abroad affected your self-perception?
Okay.
So
it's always interesting just like traveling, and especially traveling abroad, because the States, it's like such a big country where everyone speaks the same language, and the culture is like so similar from east to west coast, from north to the south. Or but like traveling abroad, like it's a whole new experience as you travel like in the country, because people speak different language, they have different cultural background, they think things differently, and they see you differently to how people around you do. And also, they want to know a lot. They have like a greater curiosity about you as someone who is from China and living in the States and living in St. Louis, this city they've never been, the things you are doing. Also, I think so. First, like I would say, it is very very good experience to just travel around to see a different scene, to talk to people who have like different cultural background, who speak different language. It is amazing that you see like how different people could be in different parts of the world, and traveling abroad, like you meet way more people, like hundreds of times more people than you normally see in your daily life. You talk to more people that you pass by, or you just like having a coffee together at a random coffee shop, and you start hear stories because you know nothing about this city, you don't know much about this country. You'll be so thrilled that you run into someone who does speak English, and then start telling you about the history, the current of this city, and then you start talking about each other's life. You start making these connections between each other. That was the amazing part. And for a lot of people that I met, a lot of other travelers that I met, like we were probably kind of similar, but each of the travelers, they have their own stories to tell. Why they come to travel. Some are for fun, some for work, some just living their lifestyle of traveling around and what they have been through. Like everyone has a different like story in the past to tell, and they have different vision of their current and the future to talk about, and that is the interesting part. It's about people. It's not only about the location, the geographic location or the country itself. It's because the language, culture, the things that you have been through, all three things has contributed to who you are. This is
Yes.
the environment where you were shaped. So meeting all those amazing people was a very, very important part of this trip, traveling abroad, and it's the it's the biggest part in my memory about this travel. I don't really remember much about those beautiful scenes, those food. No, though no, you can always review those things through the pictures that you've taken. But with people, it's all about this mental memories that you have, like all the good connections or even bad experience that you've had with someone. Just like people you've met, you know this country through people, you know them through this conversation. That is the amazing part about the journey. And yeah, I would say for me, I will still find more chances if I could to travel to more different countries, to meet more people, because it was amazing. And sorry, what was the question? The second half question again.
Oh, sure. Let's repeat it again. It was so it was how was your experience traveling how has your experience traveling
Right.
abroad affected your self perception? So
Right,
it's
yeah.
about the self perception.
Right. So yeah. So yes, as what I said, you meet a lot of different people with different backgrounds, and they think differently. They all have their own experience. It's like I thought, like people out there, like they wouldn't know me. They wouldn't like I wouldn't even have existence there. Actually, when you're going out, because you're different, people like you. People like to hear different stories. People like to get to know you better, and because the world is so big to explore, there are like better chances for you to find someone who has been in your shoes, to be able to understand you, and who has had experience, so they can give you some insights. So for me, after this whole trip, I mean, this whole trip of traveling around is happened before I started, shifting my view about life, start finding my self identity. But I would say it is a very important part because I started to know different people than those who I usually hang out with. I have different comments, have different thoughts from other people. I know the world is so big, so different than what I thought, and it doesn't matter for me to have a different timeline than other people do. Like everyone work their life out differently. So it has changed my life in a very major way, that I start focusing more on who I am, the differences that I have, and to value them, to see myself. Sometimes you really gotta see yourself from a third person to know yourself, to get to know yourself again. Like what you know about yourself might not be the truth. Like really, you've been thinking about yourself this way for decades. This is always how you think about yourself. So you need a chance to get to know yourself all over again as someone new, as someone who know nothing about you, and start finding the valuable part of your life being different, or being where your passion is, and what is your strength, what a good personality that you have, how valuable you are to other people. I started to look at this positive sides that I barely looked at before. So it was amazing experience, like spiritually, to how I see myself differently after the whole trip.
I really enjoy that, and you touched base on a couple of topics that I want to speak to, as it relates to the experience of third person, and finding out that the truth that you knew before, the experiential journey of going through finding out the truths of the heart, which is the heart that God gave us, not the heart that He gave us to come to the earth realm existence, but finding out that those truths were a pseudo representation. So that's one thing that John is giving validity to, that I speak to, which is the truth of the propositioning, which the truth, and that's the truth prior to us finding out the real truth, which is the destiny God has for us, which is the propositioning of a truth, which is the premise of why we're going through what we're going through. And then the third person, John seeing himself in the third person, which is the Holy Spirit that is residing in us, that is trying to give us our truths again. So, people, we have to understand that there is a real experience in the spirit realm. And that is the experience that John has been going through with the spirit realm and the spiritual experience of finding out that the truths that we were believing from the pseudo representation of who we are, which is the propositioning of Satan for the destroying of our lives, and then going through the whole experience of going through the journey and finding the original truth, which is the authenticity and the originality of who we are that is already innately in us. And then, as John said, receiving that third person presence and the viewing and the perceptualizing of ourselves in the third person presence, that is the Holy Spirit and the burning fire that we have. And then I want to get down to that last question that we have for you, John, which is, how is your experience living in the now?
So I would say I would say it's a good experience, because in the past, or like for a lot of people who had the same problem, like you just can't get out of the trap you made for yourself, because because of the mistakes or something happened in the past, or something in the future that scares you, or like something in the future that you really like thrive to get. But at the end of the day, like, we are not living in the past or in the future. We are living in right now, in the present, and where you are, what you have, and what is around you, who are around you, that is the most important thing. For a long time, I thought, just in a time frame of your life, for example, let's say 80 years, at where I was a year ago, there were like 22 years in the past. There were about 50, 60 years in the future, and then right now it's just like small part in this like timeline. But that doesn't mean that the current is small. As soon as you realize how big it is, you will forget about how big, or how important the past or the future is in comparison to the current, because all you remember in the past are just tiny little bits of the feelings of the puzzling memories that you have from the past, or you have like some like unclear vision about the future. But in the current, you have everything. The people you have around you, the values that you hold, the belief that you have, and the resources that you have. These are abundance.
Yes.
And these are the most important thing for you in the moment, and that is something you don't want to devalue, because we've been talking about like how people devalue themselves, how people devalue a lot of things. So as I see, as I started like shifting my view, and focus more on my present, I realized, God, there are a lot of resources around me that I didn't even knew that I had. I have like very supportive family that I never thought I could share my experience with them and get advices from them. Amazing friends. I never knew that their experience could be something inspiring for me, and like all the differences I have are valuable, and that has a potential. Like everything that you have, like everything you value, that must have a potential in you as long as you believe in yourself. And only if you focus on the current where you are. As I said, you probably have a clear vision, clear like image, like more complete image about yourself, to see yourself as a third person, so you don't just focus on one side of your life. As a third person, you see every angle of your life, and you see everything you have, you see every strength and weakness that you have, and then where you are and what you're gonna do in the next few days, next few years, and then how you can gradually approach to the future. Also, knowing where you are, how the past, how things you thought that held you back, wouldn't really impact your current life as much. Like, it is the past, and you are still having a life to manage, to live, and just like living in the present doesn't mean you have to forget about the past or forget about future. It just means that you really need to know like what you are doing and who you are, and that is the biggest inspiration for me as I started like looking like to my present like more than the past, because I used to like get trapped in the past, like all those bad memories. Those really just held me back, like stopped me from everything. Like I quit a lot. I quit school. I quit responsibilities that I had. I travel not only because I want to see the world, but also I kind of had this idea of running away from my responsibilities. Like all these, just because just everything in the past held me back from proceeding to the next stage of my life. So living the current, it's not easy. I would say it is not easy, but nothing is any easier than that. Also, running away from your responsibility isn't easier. Dying isn't easier. Just keep yourself in the trap you made isn't any easier. Like, but at the end of the day, after you go through this process, the future is brighter. You see the future is realistic, but in other ways, which all are tough. Like you don't see a future. Like you don't see there's any potential anymore. So living the present is all about like exploring yourself in different ways to have a more complete image about yourself, so you know where you are and what you are going to do next.
Thank you so much, John. And that is going to be the conclusion of our questions. I am so glad that John decided to come on with me as my special guest today. And I want to leave us with the I ams. And I want you to speak those I ams with me, John. I am truth.
I am truth.
I am peace.
I am peace.
I am the rightful possession of the truths that I already innately possess.
I am in the right.
I am the original truth
that
I already innately possess. That's okay.
Right, it's a long sentence. So I am
the
original truth
that I already innately possess.
That already innately possessed.
I am light.
I am light.
I am whole.
I am whole.
I am full.
I am full.
I am not a pseudo representation.
I am not a pseudo representation.
I am an original work.
I am an original work.
I am in pursuit of healing.
I am a pursuit of healing.
And I am my willpower.
And I am my willpower.
You know what, guys? I'm so excited about the mission. And I'm so excited about where we're going in the spirit. The validity of what John has said today is giving us truth into what we need to do as it relates to the required work. And as I told you on prior shows, that there are several dimensions to the heart. And there is work that is required. And there are mazes that we must face in the light of finding out the validity of who we are. And you must remember that we've got to be about the business of experiencing how we feel now. And we've got to be about the business of putting out the naysayers and pushing out the people that are trying to hinder you from your truth. And we are saying no today as a representation of God's work and the sovereignty thereof, that we are somebody. And we're saying further today that we are going where we need to go because we've been where we've been. And we're experiencing what we're experiencing right now so that we can get to where we're going. And we're saying no to the pseudo belief system that we've been believing. And we're saying no to the people that are wishing our downfall because we're choosing to believe our own truths. And we're choosing to say no today to the people that are trying to tell us what rights we have and what rights we do not have. Because, listen, people, we're in the business of getting to the destiny and the call of the purpose that we have for our lives. So I say to you today, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you coming. Come on, give me a hug. Like, what?
Thank you for having
so
me.
good.
I'm really
so
happy
glad.
to be in this show to
Yes.
to share about things. It's not only to share to other people, it's also a review to my life and to see what I have accomplished. I'm
Yes.
really happy to see, I've come so far
Yes.
to be a better person and to like having you as next to me, being a supportive friend, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. And before this show, like the talk we had about everything, it was inspiring, and I really love that.
I'm so glad. I'm so thankful. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity for not only me, but John here, for us to be a representation for the empowerment of finding the truth of your identity and finding the truth of the authenticity that we already have. And my dear friends, you know what? We're going to get on out of here. Let me get a tune for you. Let me turn it up. You know that's how we do. Let me wait a minute. This is the wrong song, so let me go to this is live. So we're going back to You Are Welcome, which is the anthem right now that I feel in the spirit. So let me turn it on up. Let me turn this up now. All right, guys. You know what? You've been watching the Burning Power Show. Well, there is, in fact, a mandate on your life that is requiring you to love yourself. Everything you've been through and everything you're going through right now is leading you into the truths of who you are. It's forcing you into the awareness that you had not seen yesterday. And right now, we're choosing to believe in ourselves. And right now, in this moment, we're choosing to love and respect everything that we are, not just a centimeter of who we are. We're leaving the expectation of Lucifer, and we're stepping into the now that's requiring us to be in pursuit of where we're getting ready to go. And I'm telling you, it's nowhere but up. So thank you, goodness, and thank you, John. This is the Burning Power Show. I'm Dr. Sonny Alonzo Dotson, and my special guest, John Wang. We are so happy about the pursuit and where we're going. So we thank you. for tuning in. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Thank you so much. Woo! You are welcome. Yeah, all right. Hit that close button, y'all.
You are watching The Burning Power Show with Dr. Sonny Alonso Dotson, where you are therefore required to love yourself. You are welcome here. You are wanted here. And you are needed here. And to the very last ember that's been diluted in the airs of possibility, trust yourself. Need yourself.